Greetings, this is Frosty Thundertrod, and welcome to my playthrough of Warhammer 40k Rouge Trader. I bought this game because it's made by Owlcat Studios, a studio I have great respect for since they've made two of my favorite CRPGs, being Pathfinder Kingmaker and Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. However, I've known of the 40k universe for quite some time, but never really got interested or involved in it. I played this game during the beta, and I discovered I really do not like this setting at all. However, since I do greatly respect Owlcat games, and did enjoy the basic but simple gameplay of the game, I decided to give it a sincere try to see if the storytelling and the characters and gameplay can carry it past my dislike for this setting. My fundamental dislike of this setting comes down to the fact that it is such a grim, dark, and gritty world setting. As you can see a spaceship, coasting past behind you. It looks like a city in space. Or at least, if not a full city, like a monument district. And we're supposed to believe this is a spaceship. It really doesn't do it for me. Plus, I don't like the grim and dark with no good way to play. My real life has been full of all kinds of darkness and grim and negativity. When I go to play a game to escape from reality, I don't want to jump into the same moral gray areas, the darkness. I want to escape from that. And Warhammer, the grittiness and darkness, and it just way beyond anything that, real life has to offer. That said, I'm going to try to be a good person, accepting the fact that I'm in a position where my character can't be benevolent. It can't go out and save the world. That's completely not the point. So, I've already decided what character I'm going to play purely on roleplay standards. So, I don't know how this character is actually going to work out in gameplay terms. But I'm going to create a custom character. Now, I guess first step is choose your portrait. That's kind of okay, but not doing melee. I guess that would be okay for like a rogue run. That's just creepy. Okay, that's kind of my real life body style, but damn. I would not want to play as that. That one's kind of okay. I like this one. This is a pretty decent one. That works. Also kind of okay. I don't like implants. Definitely a hard no there. And what's with this? God damn. That looks like you're crazy, X. Another. That's a kind of decent one, but melee again. Ugh, no. Okay, there's Slandered Gaming for you. Guess that's kind of okay. A Japanese-looking dude with an opium tube. That's not racist at all. Don't know what that is. It's almost more like a space marine than anything else. That one's pretty cool. No. I don't know. Those tubes out of his head make me think of Viking horns, so I'm seeing Space Viking here. I'd say the women definitely got the better portraits overall, but I think this is the least bad for the men. Let's see. Appearances. Yeah, since I'm going to be a spacer, which are kind of, physically frail, I think that'll work this time. Don't want pale skin, since also I'm a spacer. See the face. Oh, that's an ugly face. I guess that one will work. Hair. Oh god. Looks like I have spaghetti on my head. Suppose that'll work. Eyebrows. Okay, that'll work. Tattoo, no tattoos. Augmentations, no augmentations. Oh, scars, no scars. Definitely no scars.
Macro cannons, volley!
No.
I am but a vessel for the higher purpose.
This could be an opportunity.
Okay.
Let chaos paint the stars red. Behold the wrath of madness.
No, thank you.
To arms!
Alright, the pragmatic male seems okay. I'm not gonna play a female, but let's see what the female voices sound like.
Fire the lance batteries. Watch and learn.
I am the chosen weapon that will crush the heathens.
I have a nose for profit and a taste for adventure.
Empyrean, take this sacrifice. Rend the flesh, shatter the spirit.
Gaze upon the powers of the veil. Applaud my brilliance.
No, I think this is the same voice actor as Liz from Pathfinder Kingmaker. It even has a very similar line where she does that little chuckle and says, "Applause, please." So I think the bold female.
I'll see you destroyed.
Yeah, the bold female sounds pretty good. So if I was playing a female character, maybe if I do a second playthrough, I'm not even sure I'm going to finish this first one. The bold female sounds okay.
Lance batteries, volley! Success is the only outcome I accept.
And the pragmatic male sounds okay. Alright, I'm going to go with Voidborn. Alright, so let's... Voidborn are humans birthed in the belly of a void vessel or aboard ancient orbital satellite. Those who have lived their lives on void ships become inured to some extent due to the reality-altering process of warp travel and to living in low or zero-G gravity environments. In many cases, their features are drawn and their skin pallid. They may even have minor deformities or strangeness to their speech, gait, or general appearance that sets them apart from others. Features. Fortune. A Voidborn character can reroll any failed attack, dodge, parry, characteristic, or skill test with a 20% chance rate of success. This chance rate cannot be greater than the base success rate of the roll. Additionally, any enemy dodge, parry against a Void Bear has a 20% chance to fail after a successful roll. Okay, that's interesting. Let's see, +5 willpower, +5 intelligence, -5 strength. That kind of makes sense. Now I'm not going to be a strength-based character anyway. Bloody mess. God, I'm suddenly getting a snotty nose here while I'm talking. Anytime a Voidborn character scores a critical hit, there's a 10% chance to double the damage. Okay, that sounds good. Just the flesh wound. The Voidborn character has a 20% chance to survive after suffering lethal damage and surviving with 1 wound. Okay, this sounds kind of like the Die Hard feat from Pathfinder, and it's a racial feat also for the half-orc in Pathfinder. Be smart. Anytime an ability or talent uses fellowship bonus, a Voidborn character can instead use the intelligence bonus if it is higher. Additionally, Voidborn characters can always upgrade intelligence even if their archetype does not allow it. Now this is actually a good roleplay tie-in, because if you're living in a relatively limited, well, I guess their ships are the sizes of cities flying through space, but I would still think that, you know, the Voidborn living on a ship or a satellite probably would not have as much cultural exposure, but at the same time they would be, you know, more intelligent, having, you know, to be relied on doing constant maintenance on their ship or satellite or station, and one of the few, you know, recreational activities to be available to you, you know, would probably just be reading. Contagious Luck. Using a non-lethal, non-damaging ability on an ally grants that ally the ability to reroll any failed attack, dodge, parry, characteristic, or skill test with a 20% chance of success for 1 round. This chance cannot be greater than the base success chance of the roll. Alright, so this is basically fortitude for other people in your party. Jinx. While a Voidborn character has more than 50% of wounds, all chances of creatures, including enemies, in a 3-cell radius are increased by 10%. While a Voidborn character with less than 50% wound, all chances of creatures, including enemies, in a 3-cell radius are decreased by 10%. Wow, this is kind of a double-edged skill. But with positioning, I can see where this might be useful. Because, like if you have an enemy and a ally within 3 cells of you, the enemy makes an attack against your ally. The enemy gets a 10% chance on the attack, and then the ally gets a 10% chance on the dodge. But if you manage to back away to only the ally is in range, then they just get the 10%. And conversely, if you start taking a beating, you would be debuffing everybody around you, so it might be a good idea to, you know, like charge behind enemy lines, or to just, you know, move out of range completely of everybody, which would probably be a smarter, because if you're already below 50% wounds, charging behind the enemy is probably not a smart idea. Alright, so that works. Alright. And since I am born in space, it only makes sense that I would be a Navy officer. The Imperial Navy is responsible for fleets of void ships that assert the dominance of the Imperium amid the stars, and fulfill other duties connected to the void and to warp travel. You used to be a naval officer and the commander of a void ship, hardened in numerous battles and famous for resounding victories. Okay, brace for impact. For 1 round, the Navy officer and their allies in a 3-cell radius can gain a +2 deflection for each archetype taken by the Navy officer. So you end up with 3, so this ends up to be a +6 deflection bonus. Okay, that can be good. They also cannot be forcefully moved or over-penetrated. Nice. Alright, characteristics, +5 agility, +5 fellowship. Skill modifiers, commerce, and demolition. Okay. So you get +5 agility, +10 demolition. Alright, talents. Do not falter. All allies affected by brace for impact do not suffer the negative effects of melee superiority for the entire combat. I'm not sure what melee superiority is. In melee combat, any target surrounded by more allies than enemies receive a +10 weapon skill bonus for each additional ally. Larger creatures need to be surrounded by more than 2 enemies to provoke disadvantage to the attackers. Okay. Yeah, I could see where this might be useful if you're, facing a lot of relatively weak enemies. They're just swarming you. Perfect timing. All allies affected by brace for impact gain a +30% to cover penetration. The Navy officer also permanently gains +15% to cover penetration. Okay, I can see where this would also be useful. Because, you don't get, shield to block or something, and it's mostly a shooter game with some melee in it, so being in cover. Get into cover. All allies affected by brace for impact gain an extra turn with 0 AP and 3 MP to increase their cover efficiency, and increase their cover efficiency by 20% for 1 round. Okay, that's nice. So this gives my allies a chance to maybe not attack, but to get into better cover, before receiving attacks. Scatter. All allies affected by brace for impact suffer only half damage from all attacks of opportunity. Okay. Get off me. Brace for impact also allows the Navy officer to use any ranged weapon in threatened areas, knocks enemies prone, and pushes them 1 cell away during the effect. Okay. So far, I would say that the Voidborn and Navy officer seem to be synergizing with each other fairly well. A triumph. Apex of brilliance. You lured a pirate squadron into a gravitational tear of a star, thereby destroying. Okay, and that gives you +5 tech use. Illustrious glory. Your ship became the first to take a now reclaimed warp route to a cluster of humanity's lost worlds. That's kind of an interesting one. Feat of greatness. Under your command, a void ship braved a terrible warp storm without a single casualty among your crew. Awareness. I like awareness generally, so I'm going to go with the feat of greatness. Alright, for Darkest Hour, Grim Portents. You have journeyed through the dark and forsaken systems, and the things you have seen have left a mark on your soul that will never heal. Logic -5. I don't really like this one because I kind of like the logic, but I can see where this would be a good fit for a Voidborn and Navy officer. Brand of shame. Once in your past, when the temptation of easy gains got the better of you, you resorted to piracy and were caught red-handed. I can see why this would be an option, but I don't really think that was something I would go for. Shadow of Torment. Your ship was boarded by pirates. You barely survived, enduring many hours during your time in captivity. Persuasion -5. Now, this is an interesting thing. Since I'm Voidborn, I guess persuasion would be a little bit limited. That might be a good skill for a Rogue Trader to have. But this is actually a bit of a tie-in for my real life. When I was 4 years old, I was kidnapped and held for about a day by my father's girlfriend, who wanted to basically steal me and make me her child instead of my mother's child. So eventually my mother found her, and I remember being tied to the bed in her trailer and my mother coming through the window with a shovel and smacking her over the head with a shovel and untying me. I was only 4, so I don't know why the hell the police weren't involved or any of the other details like that. So, but I definitely, a shadow of torment. Archetypes. Alright, I'm going to be an officer. Alright. Officers use their willpower and fellowship to improve their combat capabilities. Well, in my case, I'll be using intelligence instead of fellowship of their allies and turning even greater threats on the battlefield. Core focus, extra turns, single target buffs, and rescuing allies, and momentum. Now, with my homeworld and background choices, I think this is actually stacking up for great synergy. Bring it down. Voice of command. Ultimate finest hour. Okay. Alright, so now I get to assign my stats. So I have 30 points to spend. My perception is kind of low. Alright, I can't lower my fellowship. But let's raise my intelligence by 10. Weapon skill, close combat, reduces enemy parry dodge. That's for melee attacks, ballistic skill. Alright. Perception. Let's go ahead and raise this by 10. So, this gives me athletics of 25, awareness of 45. I like that. Carouse of 30, coercion of 35, commerce of 40, demolition of 40, logic of 45. I like that skill. Lore Imperium, Lore Warp, Lore Xenos. Yeah, I kind of like these three. Medicae. Persuasion is a little bit low. And tech use. So, yeah, I would say I would kind of like this overall. A void ship. I thought during previews they said you could choose different void ships, but it does not look like you can. Looks like I just get stuck with the sword class frigate. It looks like a duck. Quack, quack. Well, I raise Ancona ducks, so let's name it the Ancona. Edit name. Okay, here we go. This is supposed to be on a spaceship. This enormous building-sized room.
Contemplation. One has the best view of the cathedral from here. Mesmerizing, wouldn't you say? An impeccable manifestation of the God Emperor's sublimity.
Huh. Frankly, such successes can be tiring at times.
I believe there are those among us who share that sentiment. But such is our duty, is it not? To overcome base weaknesses and desires, so as to excel in our service to the God Emperor, the master of humanity. Allow me to introduce myself. Conrad Voigtfair, Master of Whispers, in the employ of Her Ladyship Rouge Trader Theodora von Valencius, at your service. I haven't had the pleasure of speaking with you in person before.
Commodore Frosty Thundertrod von Maynard, Lord Captain of Dressus's Blessing.
My regards, Lord Captain. Though perhaps I should refrain from addressing you thus aboard this vessel. With all due respect, Commodore.
I wonder if this ship will actually show up at some point later. I know you can have more than one void ship in your fleet. It would be kind of cool if my old command managed to show up and was like a ship in my fleet too.
I will be frank with you. You may forget your past titles, no matter who gave them to you, or what their origins are. From the moment you and the other candidate were brought aboard this void ship, your fate changed. You now serve Lord Captain Theodora von Valencius, and carry the burden of an heir of this house. Henceforth, you share your dynastic name with Her Ladyship. Bear it with honor.
Why am I aboard this vessel? Why have I been brought here? I see really no reason why I would be related to, why I would suddenly be part of this woman's house.
So that you may fulfill your blood duty. Whatever obligations you had before, they are henceforth null and void. By order of the Lord Captain, you have been requisitioned to serve the Rouge Trader, indeed blessed by the God Emperor. I see that you are shocked. Yes, you understood correctly. Lady Theodora's authority indeed supersedes that of those whom you obeyed before. The Lord Captain's power is so great that she is capable of performing unthinkable feats, such as changing the fate of a servant of the Imperium. Your fate.
Tell me about the one whose ship I have found myself.
I would rather not discuss the Lord Captain behind her back. Especially not on board her ship. No one knows better than I that whispers are wont to attract particularly close attention. Suffice it to say that Her Ladyship is the bearer of the sacred warrant of trade, and a woman of immense power and entitlement. However privileged your position may be, I ask that you do not incur her anger by being disrespectful or obtuse. Lady Theodora despises both qualities.
A warrant of trade, the sacred relic document that affirms the preeminent rights of a rogue trader throughout the galaxy. He's already said there's another one, so don't need to ask this question. I assume you had some goal in mind when you decided to seek me out. Let's address it.
But of course, I have come to invite you to a meeting with Lady Theodora. I imagine you have many questions for your patroness, and I'm sure she has just as many questions for you. It is regrettable that you haven't yet had an opportunity to speak. It has been an arduous voyage thus far. The Lord Captain and Master Edelthrad von Valencius are conversing on the observation platform. Let us join them there.
Keep your wits about you.
Same engine, same developer, so movement and camera controls the same as the two Pathfinder
Rise to the
games.
top, or get left in the dust.
Autosave, huh? I don't care for the screen HUD overlay.
Perhaps you would like to take a look around after your audience with the Lord Captain.
What's happening?
Run! The servitors have gone berserk!
Your demise is already calculated.
You have been ambushed. The battle begins. To survive the grim darkness of the far future, you will have to face enemies of all kinds and fight for your life. These hints and tutorials will familiarize with you with the combat system of Warhammer 40,000, Rouge Trader. Click the button at the top of the screen to start the battle. Alright, so... all battles in the game are turn-based and take place on a grid. On their turns, a character can move, attack, and use their abilities. Select a cell within the highlighted area and double-click the left mouse button on to move the cursed character there. Movement points determine how far the character can move on their turn. 1 MP corresponds to 1 cell on the battlefield. Moving diagonally is more costly. Every second diagonal cell uses 2 MP. At the beginning of each turn, movement points are restored to their maximum value. Note, once a character starts moving, this action can no longer be cancelled. Okay. Well, let's see. Action points. To make attacks, use abilities in combat, a character must spend action points. Their total is displayed on the panel at the bottom of the screen. Every attack or ability has a certain AP cost associated with it. The number of squares next to the icons of attack actions and other abilities indicate their AP cost. At the start of each character turn, their AP are restored to their maximum value. To attack, first click left mouse button on single shot icon in the weapons panel at the bottom of the screen. Hover the cursor over the enemy, a tooltip will appear showing you the chances of hitting that enemy and the possible damage he can deal on successful hit. Click left mouse button on the enemy to fire. The amount of damage your characters deal depends on the parameters of the weapon they are using. The effectiveness of the shot depends on the distance between the character and enemy. When you target an enemy with a single shot, you will see 2 areas denoting the weapon's effective and maximum firing ranges. Certain abilities in the game are considered attack actions that can only be used once per turn, unless affected by specific talents or other abilities a character might have. If a character performs an attack action, they will not be able to attack again and will lose their remaining moving points until the start of the next turn. This one AP. Alright, so this costs 0
I'll
AP.
see to it personally. On it.
I guess I have 3 AP left.
I won't stand for it. I'll make it happen.
Alright. When you're ready to end your turn, press space or click the end turn button on the bottom right of the screen. %, chance, and this would be a killing shot.
What suspiciously poor timing for such an accident. Servitors malfunction on the officer's deck at exactly the same moment when the Rouge Trader and her heirs are gathered here. I have blocked all passages between the upper and lower sectors of the residential decks. If this is a deliberate attack, it should stop the culprits from advancing their plan. I'm afraid I must remain here. For Lady Theodora's safety, I have to oversee the execution of these orders personally. I hope you will have no difficulty reaching the observation platform on your own. It is just at the end of this corridor.
Let us not dawdle.
The wires in the servitor's head are still smoldering. It would seem the cause of the malfunction was the short-circuiting of the motive force. No loot, I guess. Tarantula sentry gun constructed with the blessing of the Adeptus Mechanicus, using a standard template constructed in the manufacturer's Akiva Gamma. Lemon Rus battle tank, reclaimed and restored by the grace of the God Emperor. The first to breach the capital walls during the pacification of Vortez Truten.
Always keep your eye on the price.
A violet alloy, which upon closer examination turns out to be a handcrafted objects. Symbols carved with primitive tools are visible on the surface.
I always keep my options open.
A black shard resembling obsidian. If you look closely, you can discern a strange, barely perceivable glow inside the artifact. Appears to be German. It might be just gibberish as far as I know, but it does look to be faintly German at least. A massive golden aluminum interspersed with sparkling particles. A stone on the pedestal is no doubt solid, but its surface shimmers and changes hue, as if someone had captured a piece of the turbulent sea within the rock. A strange object that resembles sea coral. The poor surface is pitted, a sign it has been underwater. A gray-green crystal with white veins. A low hum can be heard coming from the artifact.
Keep your wits about you.
This exhibit is unfinished. Another symbol of House von Valencia's valor would be displayed here at some point in the future. Okay.
Is there money to be made? I always have a backup plan.
A servitor. Hope these guys don't go berserk on me. Crew officer.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
It looks like they're obviously lined up that way to stop me from moving on through.
I always keep my options open.
That is simply irrational, Lady Theodora. Assimilation into the trade structure would be politically and economic suicide, practically an admission of heresy. Then suggest an alternative that will satisfy me. I have described the situation no worse than my Senshell could have done. Make a decision. What the situation? No worse than my... Make a decision. What you do with Aeon V. Thundertrod. Survey the room. The first impression of Thundertrod would appear to be about 30 years old. Is of parchment-like skin stretched over tightly bundled mass of snooze. Implants and bone are nervously twitching fingers, a face twisted by the slight tick of jerky movements, all signs of some illness or defect that has overtaken its physical form. In stark contrast to Thundertrod, Theodora von Valencia's features appear to be as they were carved from marble, eternal and indescribable. Head raised high, proud posture, hands clasped casually behind her back. Everything seems to emphasize the difference in status between her and Thundertrod. Behind the two of them you see two more men. One, a grey-haired officer of impeccable bearing who is studying the contents of his data slate. The other is a behemoth bristling with holsters and bandoliers containing all manner of weapons. Our second candidate has joined us. The dry female voice and the powerful feeling of being watched force you to look at Theodora. The Rouge Trader is looking straight at you. Her gaze, like herself, is predatory and oppressive. Frosty Thundertrod, approach and give me your answer. Passive skill test. Your character skills reflect their knowledge and their capabilities. Some dialogues automatically initiate passive skill test. If such a test succeeds, new information will be revealed or hidden. Dialogue options will unlock. If your character has traveled with allies, the party member with the highest score in their applicable skill is selected for each given passive skill test. Consider this hypothetical situation. Ion 6, a new world on the fringes of the Cronus Expanse. High seismic activity, regular magma eruptions, metamorphic rock deposits, prospects for large-scale mining. The world is populated by natives who worship some heretical underworld spirits that protect those who offer them sacrifices. Flights of fantasy, you might say. But attempts to install ore extractors have failed for the second time. The mining crews sent to the planet's surface simply vanished overnight. My question to you, what would you do with this poisoned treasure? Let's see. These spirits could well be natives named for dangerous aliens. I would first verify that is indeed the case, and if the population of Ion 6 is engaged in Xeno worship. There are ways to confirm whether what is happening on Aeon 6 is witchcraft or not. It might cost several psychers to do so, but will give us the answer. That's not a good solution. Seismic activity, you say? I wish I could look at some angular readings, but theoretically, a simple well-placed orbital strike would drown Aeon 6 and all of its terrors in an ocean of magma. Also not a... These reports of spirits certainly sound like evidence of heresy. However, I would put my interest first, no matter what it means. I would have to use the riches of Aeon 6 would be mined. Aeon 6 must be purged. For the good of the Empyrean, I shall exterminate the heretical beliefs and otherworldly powers that rule the native species. None of these are really good. I think I'll go with this one because it seems to be like the least bad. Because it would be possible that the natives are being manipulated. Apart from Xenos, an untrodden planet might be teeming with myriad horrors that are far more dangerous and difficult to eradicate. I suspect that you, Frosty Thundertrod, are simply unaware of their existence. Let's see. I gave a straight answer to a simple question, which, as I understand, was still more than you could do. We are both servants of the God Emperor and Lady Theodosia. Does it become anyone of our status to engage in petty feuds? I find your tone most disagreeable. Will you kindly alter the manner in which you address me, else you will live to regret the consequences? I'm going to go with number 2. Even among his flock, not all are of a piece, Frosty Thundertrod. I suggest you familiarize with that fact before you are sorely. Elder Thread, I believe I gave you an assignment on the ship. Explain to me why my senior congratulate... I have no idea what the hell that word is. Congratulate congregator is still dawdling about the officer's deck instead of proceeding to the middle decks to inspect the compartments in his purview. I beg your forgiveness, Lady Theodora. Your presence has such a profound effect on me, I well forgot the time. The grammar's kind of hard for me because it's like a very 19th century British dialect. So it's kind of counterintuitive to my 21st century American farm boy dialect. So, Frosty Thundertrod, why are you here? I do not know just yet. I hope you will clarify that. Clarity, a luxury that few of us can afford. There is a reason why I did not explain all the details of the question I posed to you earlier. Beyond the borders of the Imperium, seldom is one guaranteed the opportunity to enjoy information abundance. This, however, is one such opportunity. My name is Theodora von Valancius, Mazamito of Sakaris. I am a rogue trader in the service of the God Emperor of humanity, and my rights and freedoms are vindicated by the most sacred relic, the Rouge Trader, kept aboard this very vessel. Mine is the honor to venture into the darkness beyond the Imperium and to carry humanity's light where powers wicked and heretical reside and bode death and ruin to us all. It was my decision alone to determine the fate of whoever I find past the bounds of the explored void. Every world I discover, along with all there is to find therein, resources, people, riches, and mysteries, is mine by right. I command millions of lives, rule over numerous planets, and possess fortunes that no planetary governor or commander could even dream of amassing. And you, Frosty Thundertrod, are one of those with von Valancius blood in your veins and a rightful claim to the inheritance when the hour comes. I guess I'm ready to take on the sacred purpose. Oh yes, you would be, wouldn't you? The question is, am I ready to choose you over the rest? You come aboard hours before the warp jump and have not yet distinguished yourself in any way. As things currently stand, I have doubts that you're suitable for the role of Rogue Trader. Probably should. Blood right alone is not enough to earn the high honor of becoming the bearer of the Rouge Trader. Nevertheless, your abilities and talents may yet prove useful. If not for the role of Lord Captain, then for one of their closest allies. Alas, even those responsibilities can at times be too challenging for those who share your blood. Conrad Victover served me for many years before he made his mistake. So the Master of Whispers is related to you? His kinship to me is most distant, as is yours. Nevertheless, he does bear the name von Valancius, even if he avoids using it publicly, as such, strictly speaking, can be considered my heir. That door, however, is closed to him. Voltigev's performance in his current role is satisfactory, or it used to be at least. Thank you for clarifying. May I ask my questions now? The vox affixed to Theodora's attire suddenly comes to life, but all you can hear is intelligent noises. Theodora winches shuts off the transmission and gives you an imperious nod. I have some time before the navigator gives a signal to initiate the void ship's transition out of the warp, and my presence is required on the bridge. An incident took place on the officer's deck. Some servitors went berserk and attacked the crew. Is that so? Perhaps the technomats were careless during maintenance, or it could be the warp is playing tricks on us in spite of the Geller field, or perhaps there is something to all these stories about the ship being possessed after all. Lady Theodore, for God Emperor's sake, surely you do not intend to start repeating idle rumors spread by uneducated riffraff. Enough, Alibert. Such heresy amuses me. Iduria eagerly retells me everything she learns from the whispers of her unseen advisors. She turns to you. This ship is thousands of years old. It has enough hidden nooks and malfunctioning cognitors and unused compartments to make ignorant folks speak of specters dwelling inside the bulkheads and plotting against those who yet live. Where is your ship headed? The Reichhead system, the domain of the Rouge Trader Winter Scale, one of my peers and rivals. Only 3 Rouge Traders exist in the Kronos expanse, and each of them possesses resources comparable to mine. Perhaps you will one day assist House Van Nelsch in surpassing both of them in affluence and splendor. I set course for Reichhead on the demand for... Theodore grimaces as she gives you a stern look and shrugs. For a very specific reason. Perhaps I shall yet appraise you of purpose for this voyage, but now is not the time. What are my current responsibilities? Observe, learn, absorb. It will take time for you to find your bearings aboard this vessel and your new position. Eventually I will find you a post that suits you, as I did for Elderson. Until that time comes, consider yourself my aide. I have no more questions. In that case, I shall head to... Theodore's Vox awakens once more. This time you pick up shouting. Lord Captain freezes and listening to the Voxcast, then nods. Disturbance reported on the adjacent deck. Seneschal, if you need arises, protect the new blood. She glances at you. It is possible that the chance to prove your worth may present itself sooner than you may have anticipated.
Your arrogance will be your downfall.
I will level you.
I took care of this one.
Alright. So I got attacks from up here and over here. This guy's taking care of that over there. Alright, so now where should I go for cover? Probably right here.
I don't need luck. I have strategy.
Alright.
My gut tells me it's a bad idea. It's as good as done. Your end was inevitable.
One shot, one kill. Hard to go wrong with that.
Pain and duty go hand in hand. fewer target. Reduced to dust. Brace yourself, Abelard.
%38, 38%. Seems me kind of open, but gives me a clean shot, so I'm gonna go with the aggressive to just kill people other than being defensive.
I'll make it happen. You never stood a chance. I refuse.
Mort, take a team with you and clear a path to the transport line. Do not let a single horror son survive. Theodora, the Rouge Trader, turns her eyes to you. Didn't bat an eye when that scum burst onto the deck. Not bad. I've seen many an officer who panicked at the sight of conflict on the upper deck. The false sense of security offered by their position makes them much more vulnerable to the harsh realities of warp travel. The incident with the rampaging servitors may be connected to what's transpiring now. Possibly, quite likely. We will investigate at a later time. Right now we need to isolate the affected compartments and try to assess the situation. What are your orders? Mort has gone ahead to clear a path for us. If you want to make yourself useful, go after them and see if the arch-militant requires aid, and be quick about it. A massive golden structure never stops moving for a moment. Light bounces off the orbits and figures representing celestial bodies. Is that supposed to be like a navigation computer? There's an NPC doing a T-pose.
Keep your wits about you.
I've only got a pistol, so I don't have the range to be engaging in long range. Krug Wagner. Thank Providence you are alive and well. Always on time, huh, Conrad? The moment we finish chasing the riff off around the deck, you show up. Always just after the fighting's done. You could set your chrono by it. Mort, pull yourself together. Why did the Lord Captain send you to chivvy us along? We're all done here. I'll report right away. Master of Whispers, what is happening on my ship? The Voxnet is silent. The Voxmaster is not responding. Armed assailants have stormed the officer's deck, and my arch-militant just destroyed several more heretics on the way here. This is a severe case of warp madness? Have some of my crew lost their minds and forgotten who they are and whom they serve? Report. I've not received word from Engineerium regarding any Gallier field failures, but communications were already unstable half an hour ago, and now they have ceased altogether. Whatever the cause may be, the consequences are spreading fast. I'm receiving scattered reports from the middle decks. The only voxcasts from lower bays are one-way heretical gibberish. The madmen have already reached the officer's deck, suggests that this outage was planned in advance. Perhaps this is an organized mutiny. We must provide immediate assistance to those still on the middle decks. Perhaps then we might stop this wave from spreading. First, we must have to confirm that the bridge and the navigator's sanctum are secure, and I have means to do both things at once. Ethelred, where is he? I must know if he is unharmed. A psyker aboard a ship that is potentially being assailed by warp could pose a greater threat to himself than others with a whole army of madmen with improvised weapons. I tried to locate him, but the last known about his movement was he arrived at transitional deck 18. Blast it, Master of Whispers. Find Ethelred immediately. Siren shall locate Telas and assist her battle. Both are to remain at my side. Arch-militant with me. I must go to my study, and it appears we might encounter heretics along the way. Frosty Thundertrod. Theodore glances at you thoughtfully. Kundra Victor, if I may, Lord Captain. Transitional deck 18 at the heart of the disturbance, and if our goal is to bring Ethelred back, I could use some support. After all, I am not as adept at directly confronting enemies of the house as the esteemed arch-militant, and taking into considerations Ethelred's psyker powers. Then it is settled. Frosty Thundertrod. Find Ethelred and bring him here, in whatever state you find him. This elevator, she points at the massive doors, leads to a restricted apartment, such as my personal chambers and the bridge. Do not let me down. I require both of you. Do you understand? I hear and obey. Then move out. Mort, come. Are you ready to head 18? It's a long walk, and you do not even have proper gear. I shall make do. Lead the way. Of course you will. Lady Theodora would never have someone she couldn't rely on as one of her heirs. But that is no longer relevant. With a pop and a sharp crackle, something hits you in the abdomen, and you are consumed by unbearable, gut-wrenching pain. I promised you a special destiny, Frosty Thundertrod, and it is time. Well, damn.
Careful, careful. Be gentle with our guest. He has an important mission to complete during our visit to the Warrant Chamber. And for that, I need him breathing. Oh, you are back with us, I see. Delightful.
Great, and I've been abducted again, it seems. Vorgavir, you two-faced scum. You are the one behind this mayhem.
How perceptive of you. I'll help you with the next insight. I need you here for your blood. You have the option to share it voluntarily, or I will squeeze it out of you myself. We are in the anteroom of the Warring Chamber, this void ship's most hallowed vault. There, beyond those gates, lies the relic that gives Theodora all of her power. The sacred Warrant of Trade. Only one obstacle remains on our path to obtaining it. The gates of the chamber are guarded by the Sentinel, an ancient device that will only open the door to a true heir of the dynasty. I expected to do this part myself, but never mind. You will offer your blood to the Sentinel.
Why are you doing this?
Why? Because I am following an order. What is happening on this ship right now has been in the making for a very long time. All that remains is to obtain what my master sent me for. The Warrant of Trade.
I have no intention of helping you.
I am afraid that you have no choice in the matter. Try to resist, and I will demonstrate the power that the warp holds over mortals. Come to think of it, I might even take some pleasure in doing so.
To the void with you. One of the available dialogue options, it requires you make a skill test. Unlike with passive tests, which are made automatically, in this case you can decide whether or not to select an option, the consequences of which will depend on the results of the associated test. Success or failure affects how the dialogues will develop. Depending on the context, you might change the course of a conversation, alter the character's attitude, or perform an action whose consequences will only become apparent later. Hover your cursor over the dialogue option that requires a skill test and you will see the tooltip detailing your chances of success. The number after the skill's name indicates the difficulty of the test. Once your character starts traveling with allies, the party member with the highest score with the applicable skill will be selected for each test. Tech use 45. Examine the device. Tech use test succeeded. You carefully inspect the design of the cognate cognitor. What immediately catches your eye is the strange ally it uses as a material for the machine's components, some of which is unfamiliar to you. You suspect this might be some type of Archtech relic. I gained 20 experience. The servitor on the gate begins to move with the screaming and groaning of metal. It leans forward closer to you. Its lower jaw opens with a drawn-out shriek, much wider than the jaw of a living human could. The servitor's mouth was filled with sharp metallic fangs and the glint of a dim light. The vid screen to the right of you lights up, showing strings of mysterious symbols on a green background. Look for anything that could be used as a weapon. You look around in hopes of finding at least something that would work as a weapon. Your search is in vain. The chamber anteroom is completely empty and in perfect working condition. Nary a broken panel or protruding piece of rebar in sight. Examine the sentinel. The servitor looks noticeably different from the ones you are used to. Its skin covered, it's stitched together with copper thread. Its metal hinges in place as standard joints. It seems that the creators of the Sentinel did everything to ensure that its service of its life, this unit would be much longer than that of any ordinary automatons.
Did you forget something? I suggest you hurry.
The Sentinel's jaws clamp around your hand, puncturing your skin and sinking into your flesh. A few dark droplets fall into the servitor's throat, and immediately you hear humming as the servo motors start up and pump stir into motion. The vid screen on the cognitor flickers. Several long minutes pass. The Sentinel's jaws remain closed, and you're beginning to feel sick. Perhaps if you lean against the gate, you could catch your breath. Maybe even close your eyes and pretend none of this ever happened.
High levels of caustic humors. The subject is in a state of heightened stress. Do you require assistance?
Yes, I do require assistance. Pain shoots through your head, and subsequent just as quickly, it would seem that the entity coiled in your conscious does not have the ability to do you any real harm.
Request accepted. Initiating defense protocol.
Well, there is still another way.
See if these guys dropped any weapons I can pick up. Does not look like it, no. Well, that's annoying. The enormous gate matched the importance of the thing they protect. The massive doors are made of heavy metal and look impenetrable.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
Let it be known by my will and the true words of this document, I appoint this person to be Paragon unbroken by adversary to walk. This is going faster than I can read. If you want to read it, go ahead and pause.
Escort the child of the house to safety.
What madness is happening here? Who are you? Who addresses me?
Temporary obnubilation following acute stress. Mobile unit of the Warren Sentinel standing by. Mobile unit of the Warren Sentinel designed as a personal escort of the child of the house and a means of communicating with the Rouge Trader's subjects. Mobile unit standing by.
I need a weapon. I'm utterly defensible.
Distance from the current location to the nearest arsenal. Initiating situational calculations.
The servo skull goes silent and relaying its clicking second after second passes, and you realize the servo skull will not answer your question. I need to contact someone, preferably Theodora.
Voxcast frequencies disrupted. Initiating setup. Establishing connection.
In place of mechanical screeching, the servo skull Vox projects the voice of Theodore Van distorted and ridden with static, still yet recognizable beyond his thought. Voxmaster, restore communication with the Navigator's Sanctum. I am trying to contact the bridge. If anyone can hear me on this frequency, regroup all available forces and head to the upper decks at once. I repeat, regroup all available forces and head.
Communication protocols breached. Signal latency assessment unavailable. Unable to establish two-way connection.
Lead me away from here.
Middle and upper decks. Assuming the probability of safe placement in areas of concentration of armed units. Calculating. To prevent unauthorized units from breaching the warrant chamber, preemptive sealing must be initiated. The mobile unit will start executing the received order immediately after the safety of the warrant is secured.
I always have a backup plan.
Master? What? Whatever are you doing in the warrant chamber? How did you... Throne preserve me. What is the meaning of this?
Kinrod Vuctor is the traitor. When we parted ways on the officer deck, he stunned me somehow and brought me here.
What?
He intended to take revenge on Theodora for something, and trying to reach the warrant was somehow part of the plan. Oh, holy God, Emperor.
God Emperor. I presume he is the one responsible for the mutiny. And, Master, I wish to remind you that you are to refer to the Lord Captain as Lady Theodora. Saints' blood! Then it is small wonder that the heretics are so well organized. I thought his order to seal the passages between decks was his attempt to stop the attackers from spreading to other levels. But now I see the real reason. It was to stop the enforcers from intervening. At least you are alive, and now safe, Master. Alas, I doubt we can afford to look for a compartment to sit out this disaster. You're in a bad way. I can treat your wounds. I have a Medicaid kit with me. And, for the love of the throne, now is not a good time to be walking around the decks without means of self-defense. Here.
See, I got a stub revolver, sword, armored body glove, and a med kit. While fighting, your character can lose some of their wounds. Your character has suffered an injury after being attacked by Conrad. This happens when a character receives damage that exceeds 50% of their maximum wounds within one round. The exact percentage of wounds a character must lose for this to happen may vary depending on the difficulty of the game you choose. Injuries reduce the character's resolve. When a character's inability to suffer an injury is considered a fresh injury during the first 3 rounds. Once 3 rounds have passed, a fresh injury will become an old injury. A fresh injury can be healed using a med kit without passing any skill test. Old injuries can only be healed with a med kit, but require the character administering the treatment to pass a Medicaid skill test to succeed. Once combat is over, the wounds of all party members are replenished automatically, but any injuries they may have sustained remain. Those can be healed with a medikit. Medikits can only be used by a character who have the field medic feature base skill. Medicaid or have been taken Medicaid skill advancement at least once. Whenever a character uses a Medicaid kit in battle, the Medicaid skill test determines the number of wounds that is restored as a result. Abelard can heal your character's injury. Click left mouse button on Abelard's portrait, select the medkit on the panel, on the bottom left of the screen and then use it on your character. Aberlord needs to be standing right next to your character for him to administer the treatment. Okay.
I'm at your service. Let's patch you up.
I'll make sure to return the favor one day.
All right.
Nice little stroll.
I have a nose for profit and a taste for adventure.
Let's see here. Alright, so now I have a pistol in my main hand, a sword in my offhand, and a little bit of armor to wear. Alright. And he has a chainsword. Okay.
That is a noticeable improvement. Now you're prepared for the trials ahead. The lower decks are teeming with heretics instigating the rabble to revolt. But that is the least of our problems. The ship's enforcers are rounding up the scoundrels and suppressing the resistance. The situation on the middle decks is much worse, although strike teams have already been dispatched there. All communication with the bridge and the engineering bay was lost. So, apart from scattered voxcasts, we have no information to go on. But that is not the worst of it. All these jolts and shaking are most alarming. These are signs that the navigator and the master helmsman are having difficulty translating the ship out of the warp and into real space. I fear that they may have already lost control. We must reach the navigator's sanctum and get a handle on the situation. If we can manage that, some aboard this vessel may yet survive. Lady Theodorus. Which one? The last one I received was about the navigator's sanctum, and that was a good while ago. In any case, let us hope that the Lord Captain is well, and safely in charge of the ship's defense. In the meantime, we must do all... Absolutely. Let us proceed. The Lord Captain is calling her crew to battle, which means the Vox networks are set up for broadcast transmission, not message exchange. Splendid. While the Rogue Trader inspires proper resolve to fight in her subjects, you and I shall prove that her trust in us is well deserved. Onward!
You are the jewel-maker, sour bites.
Challenges make the spoils that much sweeter.
I'll turn you into corpse starch.
There's no shelter here. Because they're attacking from this direction. I have cover from that direction from the sides, but not to forward. So I guess I'll stay right here. And then you, I will just move forward. Yeah, I'll put you right here.
What is it?
I'll see to it personally.
Pistol burst. Alright.
Who if not me?
Well, that was kind of useless.
I will do my duty. One fewer target.
I killed 2 of them.
Pain and duty go hand in hand. I've suffered worse.
I won't stand for it. I'll see to another enemy down.
Okay. Wasn't exactly the one I was aiming for, but...
Victory is imminent.
These guys are killing each other more than I'm killing them. 69%.
Indeed. Reduced to dust. At your beck and call.
Okay, that worked pretty well. Let's see here. Now, I wonder if I can remove this and put this here. I can. Awesome. In combat, a character may use different kinds of weapons, in which case be prepared in advance. Open your inventory eye and prepare different weapon sets. To switch to a different weapon set in combat, press X. Swapping weapon sets in combat does not cost action points. That's good to know. Let's see. So let's go this way. Alright, looks like I've leveled up. Alright. So. Choose skill. Guess I'm going to go with commerce since I'm supposed to be a rogue trader. Alright.
Rise to the top or get left in the dust.
So I guess I'm quick traveling inside the ship.
The navigator sanctions directly along the passageway. I pray to the God Emperor that we are not too late.
And so, he will enter the halls of the blinded guide and witness the radiance of the final dawn through the cracks and fall victim to a whim of fate.
Master, watch your head. Idira, would it be too much to ask that you phrase your soothsayings plainly for once? That was too close.
Sorry, old man. The voices are so loud I can't even hear myself. They shriek, they sing, they... Oh, Abelard, how they sing!
This is Idira Tlas, personal psyker and diviner of Her Ladyship Theodora von Valencius. Idira?
I'm not drunk, old man. I'm suffering the effects of the warp that is seeping through these walls. I see the ship's fate. To die in the waves of the immaterium, fall under the burning rays of the final dawn. And in the roaring blaze, I see a figure standing. Who is it? I have no answer. The voices from beyond the threshold whisper to me. Sometimes their murmurs are clear, they grant insight. Sometimes they drive me mad. But I am patient. I know how to listen and discern. But now, with this clamor around me, too many voices, too loud. And you are von Valencius, one of Lady Theodora's heirs. Well then, we finally meet.
You hear a few clicks from the relays on the serval skull, which has followed you all the way here, and Theodore's scrambled words give way to a voice vaguely familiar to you. Officer's frequency. To all who can hear me, those with a weapon in their hands are to gather the officer's deck at once. I repeat, gather on the officer's deck at once and prepare to launch a counterattack.
That's Edelstrad. Oh, Emperor's providence. The other heir lives as well. Quickly, we must head to...
Not so fast, old man. If we drown in the warp, Lady Theodora's heirs won't be any good to us. If Edelstrad's like me and hasn't yet surrendered his mind or body to the mercy of the warp, then he can still hold on a little longer without us.
Blast it. You're right. First, we need to deal with what is happening here.
What are you doing here?
The whispers called me. The ones I could make out among all the screams and screeches. Those who are rocking this boat hit us where it hurt. They went after the navigator, our guide through the warp. Other whispers called me to the enginarium, but it was too late. I heard the cry of our master cog, and the silence that followed.
What? You don't mean the Enginseer Prime is...
Said, without a doubt. And the voices wail, heralding countless nightmares, cackling at each soul among the hundreds that are now joining the warp. The shriek from the navigator's sanctum was louder than the rest. And it's better that we saved the navigator than some lever puller from a cooling module or a cook from the middle decks.
We must save the navigator as well.
No. Nothing is well about him. Can't you feel the chill crawling on your skin? The eyes watching you? The warp ice has already encased the bulkheads. What follows is calamity. But we're not just going to stand here and take it, are we? The state of things in here suggests there's a navigator around. Maybe one who's crippled or at death's door, but still kicking. And since our skin hasn't peeled off our faces just yet, his third eye must be closed. At worst, it's a little roughed up. So what are we moping around for? Let's go protect that noble mutant while we're still alive.
Piece of pipe that fell with leaving a noticeable dent in the floor. Alright, I am going to bring this video to an end right here, take a break, and then come back and start recording part 2 in a few minutes. Thank you very much for watching.